Hello and welcome, friends, into the last section of Voyaging Towards Excellence by Achyut Godbole. Today, we are going to begin from the last paragraph provided on page number 82. So, as usual, first I will read the given paragraph and then provide you an explanation on it. So, the paragraph reads: Coming back to my groups in IIT, my friends were not only more intelligent than me, but they were very well read. They had interest in all the subjects like science, technology, sociology, psychology, economics, philosophy, anthropology, archaeology, political science, etc. Our group was interested in all of these branches, apart from all the fine arts such as music, literature, painting. In short, our group was interested in almost anything under the sun and which concerned human life and existence. I was immediately attracted to the group and developed immense and deep interest in all these branches of knowledge. None of these subjects were part of our curriculum at IIT. But again, I never studied for scoring marks in any examination. Here was a sea of knowledge in front of me, which I thought was necessary to pass the examination of life, which was far more important than just passing IIT examination. It is very difficult to become a master or an expert in all these subjects, but it was very important for me to understand at least the basic principles of most of these subjects. Any of us could easily top the GRE examination and migrate to the US. However, that thought never even touched our minds. To understand the world and how it works and serving India and her people was far more important to us. In this paragraph, writer is talking about his friend circle in IIT. Writer says all his friends were well read and interested in almost all the subjects, including fine arts like music, literature, painting, etc. In short, interested in almost anything under the sun. Here, anything under the sun means a wide range of things. Writer says these subjects were not a part of their IIT curriculum, but for the knowledge was important to pass the examination of life. Writer tells us anybody from his group could easily pass the GRE exam and move to the US. Here, GRE means Graduate Record Examination. This is a standardized test that is an admission requirement for many graduate schools and in the United States and America. But for him and for his group, it was important to understand the world and serving India and its people. Now, next paragraph. Therefore, I plunged into all these branches of knowledge. It was a period of renaissance for me. We used to discuss about relativity, Big Bang, aesthetics, literature, philosophy, economics, and many other subjects every day until late into the nights. My cupboard was full of books on a variety of topics. It is only because of the human curiosity that we have been able to make such a great progress in science and technology and social sciences. I have a number of limitations, but one thing I am proud of is the curiosity, humility, and humanity. That is concern for fellow human beings. I learned these values during my IIT days. I also became a firm believer in rationalism and equality for all the castes, creeds, races, genders, and religions. I started treating nature as God and humanity as religion. Students, this paragraph talks about values writer learned in IIT. Writer says his IIT days was a period of renaissance for him. Students' renaissance means rebirth or revival of learning. There were discussions on various subjects such as relativity, Big Bang, etc. till late nights. Writer says the progress in the fields of science, technology, and social sciences is only because of curiosity. Writer says he was proud of his IIT days for teaching him values such as curiosity, humility, and humanity. He becomes a believer in rationalism. Rationalism means the practice of basing opinions and actions on reason and knowledge rather than on religious beliefs or emotional responses. For him, nature is God and humanity is religion. Next paragraph. I passed from IIT, joined a non-violent social movement for tribals with Sarvodaya, participated in a peaceful satyagraha, went to jail for 10 days, came back to Mumbai, was jobless for a while, worked for rupees 125 per month to supervise workers at the night shift in a mechanical workshop, changed 13 houses in Mumbai, and finally settled on information technology as my career. I spent 32 years in information technology, out of which I was a chief executive officer or MD or the software head for 23 years for large global multinational software companies with thousands of software professionals worldwide and 6 offices in the United States, 3 in Europe, 1 in Japan, and 1 in Australia. I had to travel all over the globe around 150 times for business during this period. I had also written 4 books with 500 to 700 pages each on information technology, published by Tata McGraw Hill and then translated into Chinese for global distribution. In this paragraph, writer tells us what he did after IIT. Writer joined Sarvodaya, a non-violent movement for tribals, and went to jail for 10 days. After this, when he came back to Mumbai, he was jobless and then worked as a supervisor for rupees 125 per month and then finally settled into the information technology industry and spent 32 years in the industry, out of which he served as a chief executive officer, managing director for 23 years in the multinational companies. During this, he traveled throughout the world for business. He wrote 4 books on IT and published by Tata McGraw Hill, and then translated into Chinese and distributed across the world. Next paragraph. I learned a lot of things when I was running these large companies. The first one was the importance of teamwork. In today's world, nothing is possible without teamwork. You cannot be successful if you are a loner and an egoistic person. Secondly, you need to lead from the front by setting a good example in front of your staff. Third was that you need to treat your subordinates and your colleagues as friends. In my career, I made a few mistakes, but learned a lot about motivation, being a good listener, target setting, and the art of delegation, which forms such an important part of today's management. Students, this is a paragraph where writer tells us the things he learned during his career. He talks about the importance of teamwork, leading from the front, friendly treatment to subordinates and colleagues. According to the writer, motivation, target setting, art of delegation are the important ingredients of today's management. Next paragraph. After working for all these software companies for so many years, I wanted to return to my first love, that is to read and write on various subjects concerning human life and existence. Therefore, I gave up 2 offers of around 3 crore rupees per annum to become a writer. This is how my second innings as a writer in Marathi began. So, students, this is a paragraph where writer tells us that he refused 2 offers of 3 crore rupees per annum and decided to pursue his dream of becoming a writer in Marathi. Next paragraph. After this, I have written about 34 books in Marathi. Most of them have become bestsellers with tens of thousands of copies sold for each. However, it is not the sales or the money that is important to me, as much as the fact that these books have brought about very good changes in the lives of thousands of readers. After reading my autobiography Musafir and a book on psychology Manaat, hundreds have come out of depression and more than a dozen have given up thoughts of committing suicide and decided to start all fresh. There are hundreds who tell me that they understood the theory of relativity or Big Bang after reading my book on science, Kimiagar. My book Boardroom on Management has created at least 20 successful entrepreneurs. Then there are hundreds who tell me that they now can understand economic times or NDTV profit after reading my book on economics, Arthat. Many have turned to mathematics after reading my book on mathematics, Ganiti. The same is true about my books on Indian music, Nadaved, English literature, Zapurza, painting, canvas, Western films, Limelight, and Western music, Symphony, or books such as Genius series, Rakt, or Vitamins, or Unearth. It is these reactions of thousands of readers and the feeling that I am touching the hearts of thousands, if not lakhs, of my readers that keeps me going. So, this is a paragraph where writer is talking about his career as a writer. Writer tells us he has written 34 books in Marathi, and all these books are in demand in the market. But for him, how many thousand copies of his books are sold is not important. But the fact that people, after reading his books, are able to understand the subject of his books and reactions of his readers is the driving force for him. Now, the last paragraph. Why am I telling you my story? When I look back, there are a number of lessons and values that I cherish and keep learning about even today. Some of these are thirst for knowledge, curiosity, humility, humanity, rationality, equality, teamwork, quest for excellence, never say die, thinking big. So, students, at last, in the concluding paragraph, writer tells us the objective of narrating his story, that is, relating the lessons of values he has learned throughout his life. Some of them are thirst for knowledge, curiosity, humility, humanity, rationality, equality, teamwork, never say die attitude, and thinking big. So, for today, we'll stop here. Thank you for listening carefully.